the sperm flow. So what is the use of urethra? Urethra, what is the function of urethra? Urethra is the common passage for sperm and urine. It is the common passage for sperm and urine. So the outer covering of urethra is called penis. Outer covering of urethra is called penis, and urethra is the common passage for sperm and urine in case of male human being. So the associated glands includes semivesicles and prostate gland. Semivesicles and prostate gland. They produce some secretion, and that secretion is mixed with the sperm, and finally the product is semen. These seminal vesicles and prostate glands produce some secretion, and that secretion mixes with the sperm to produce semen. So these are the male reproductive systems. Male reproductive systems include testes, vas deferens, urethra, and associated glands. Testes produce male germ cells, and it releases male sex hormones called testosterone. And it is the passage, which is the passage act here. Vas deferens is the passage act here as to travel the sperm from testis to urethra. And urethra is the common passage for urine and sperm. The outer covering of urethra is called penis. Now associated glands includes semivesicles and prostate gland. This semivesicles and prostate gland will produce some secretions, and that secretion mixed with the sperm to produce semen. That's all about male reproductive system. So moving to the female reproductive system, already we discussed about the male reproductive system, right? Moving to the female reproductive system, it consists of ovary, fallopian tube and uterus. Ovary, fallopian tube and uterus. Eggs are formed in the ovary. So ovary is a place where the female reproductive system, ovary is a place where the eggs are formed. Eggs are formed. This fallopian tube, or otherwise it is called oviduct, receives the eggs and transfer it into the uterus. So the fallopian tube or the oviduct receives the eggs. That egg is produced in the ovary, and that egg is received by the fallopian tube or oviduct and then transferred it into the uterus. So fertilization occurs in the oviduct or fallopian tube. So fertilization occurs in the oviduct or fallopian tube. Fertilization means addition of sperm plus egg. Now uterus. The development of fetus takes place in the uterus. Development of fetus takes place in the uterus. So here the egg is transferred from the ovary to the uterus through the fallopian tube, otherwise called the oviduct. Now the fetus is developed at the development of the fetus is at uterus, as we all know. And the embedding of embryo in the thick inner lining of the uterus is called implantation. The embedding of embryo in the thick inner lining of the uterus is called implantation. So these are the parts of female reproductive systems, include ovary, oviduct or fallopian tube or other, and uterus. So the eggs are produced in the ovary, and that eggs is transferred to the uterus through the fallopian tube, and the fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube or the oviduct, and the development of fetus is in the uterus, and the embedding of embryo in the thick inner lining of the uterus is called implantation. That's all about female reproductive system. Now moving to the gestation period and menstruation. So what is mean by gestation? So the time period for the development of fetus inside the uterus till birth. The time period of the development of fetus inside the uterus till birth is called gestation period. The time period of the development of fetus inside the uterus, inside the uterus till birth is called gestation period, is called gestation period. Then what is mean by menstruation? It occurs in females. Then what is mean by menstruation? It occurs in females. The breakdown or removal, the breakdown or removal, the breakdown or removal of thick lining in uterus. The breakdown or removal of thick lining in uterus along with the blood vessels by the form of vaginal bleeding is called menstruation. The breakdown or removal of thick lining in the uterus along with the blood vessels in the form of vaginal bleeding is called menstruation. That's all about gestation period and menstruation. Menstruation simply means that the breakdown or removal of thick lining in the uterus along with the blood vessels in the form of vaginal bleeding. Here in the case of gestation period, it is the time period of the development of fetus inside the uterus till birth is considered as the gestation period. So moving to the next topic, sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. What is meant by an STD? The disease which is spread by sexual contact from an infected person to a healthy person. So this disease is spread from an infected person to a healthy person through sexual contact. Through sexual contact. So diseases which is spread by sexual contact. That means that this disease is transferred from an infected person to a healthy person through sexual contact. That is called sexually transmitted diseases. So there will be a lot of ways to avoid sexually transmitted diseases by using some precautions like that we will discuss later. Right now this is sexually transmitted diseases, and the example for sexually transmitted diseases is HIV AIDS is a sexually transmitted disease simply called a STD. Syphilis is also a sexually transmitted disease simply STD. Example HIV AIDS and syphilis. So moving to the final topics, birth control methods. Birth control methods in human beings. Birth control methods in human beings here. So the first method is physical method, second method is chemical method, and third method is surgical method. There will be lot of methods. Out of this, we will discuss about three methods: physical method, chemical method, and surgical method. What is the physical method? Physical method, whatever happens, we have to stop the combination of sperm and egg. Combination of sperm and egg. If sperm combines with the egg, then there will be fertilization. Okay, so there will be a chance of fertilization. So we have to stop the fertilization process. That means combination of egg and sperm. So to stop the combination or to resist the combination of egg and sperm, there will be three methods are applicable: physical method, chemical method, and surgical method. There will be another one more method is there. So we discuss about physical method, chemical method, and surgical method. These are the important methods in the case of contraceptive or otherwise called birth control methods. So physical method, your uses of condoms will protect the combination of eggs and sperms. That is in the physical method. So uses of condoms are the physical methods to protect the pregnancy or otherwise called the fertilization. So uses of oral pills prevent the pregnancy or fertilization. That is the chemical method. So what about the surgical method? In the case of surgical method, the male vas difference is blocked to prevent the passage of sperm, or otherwise we have to block the fallopian tube to stop the passage of fallopian tube, block the fallopian tube to resist the passage of egg in females. In the male, we block the vas deferens to prevent the passage of sperm, and in the females, we block the fallopian tube to prevent the passage of egg. That is in the surgical method. So these are the methods to control the fertilization, or otherwise we have to simply call the birth control methods. In birth control methods, we resist the fertilization or the combination of egg and sperm. This is the birth control methods to prevent pregnancy or fertilization. That's all about the chapter. And we discussed a lot of terms regarding reproduction in this chapter. All are important topics. Only important topics are discussed in this chapter. So all the topics are very important, and it will be there will be a lot of chance to appear in the board exam, these topics. So that's all about the topic reproduction, and I am Sudhi here signing off from the topic. We'll see you in the next class with another topic. Thank you everyone.